Listen, son, to all the sons out there. You can be anything you want to be. Keep God first and love yourself, love your family, and chase your dreams. Welcome to the Listen Son podcast.
All right, fellow listeners out there, for the Listen Son podcast, Happy New Year to you all. Glad we all persevered and made it to 2021. If you're new, we welcome you aboard. If you've been listening, we thank you for your continued support. It's really truly appreciated. I enjoyed this time with my father, who you see on the other side of the camera, Michael Bond Sr. Rick, my buddy, Diamante McKinley. Enjoy building this with them and what we have set up for fathers and sons. So we definitely tremendously appreciate the support. We just ask that you continue to do that moving forward. Like, subscribe, tell a friend, email us, have more interaction with the members of the podcast, and just continue to build this platform. We think it's something that is needed, especially with what we're going through in our times right now. You can't have enough positivity. So that's where we're going to leave it at. Our email will be on screen. Social media platforms will be on screen. Anything that you need to continue to listen on YouTube or on any of the podcast platforms. So, Pops, you got anything to say to them before we get into the episode?
Just Happy New Year to everyone. And hopefully we pray that this will be a better year than last year. Stay safe and continue to follow the doctor and the physician's orders. And that's about it.
Yeah. Were you ever big into resolutions?
Oh, yeah. That used to be a big thing, man. You know, we all used to do that. A lot of us, man, what we going to stop doing, eliminating out our diets, exercise more, financial gain, the whole 9 yards. That was like a tradition,
Got you. Yeah, I'm not disciplined enough to stick with resolutions, but if I do got one this year, to be more disciplined, disciplined, and to stick with stuff that is good for you, like exercising, reading your Bible, and
absolutely
side financial increases, and actually sticking with it throughout all 12 months.
Yeah,
so,
that's good. Yeah,
I give somebody, like I said, I give one. One would be to definitely to tie it through all year, tied to a foundation or something all year, and to stay on track with my weight goal, as I transition back into working out and getting back on the field with some of the guys that I coach. So that's my resolution right there. Just one to it.
Well, those are good resolutions, man. My philosophy, your health is your wealth. So exercising and watching your diet, and you can't go wrong with that. And then tithing is another one. You definitely can't go wrong with that, So you're on the right track for this year, son.
All right. I appreciate that. We got some big stuff already happening. I think you and I both watched the big game. Starting off, we watched the big game. So much stuff regarding Alabama and Ohio State. One of which I want to talk about, Jalen Waddle. He was coming back from he caught the pass on the first series for Alabama, and you can really see he was still injured. He wasn't 100%. So when it came to me, or when you see a lot of other guys, because it's a fine line to be between playing through tough, between nicks and knacks and being tough, and it's a difference between playing through injury. So when it came to me, how did you go about making sure I didn't go out there and further hurt myself, but also making sure that I was a tough guy,
Well, I really didn't, you worked out hard. You worked out hard. I would push you, but I didn't have to push you like a lot of some fathers, because you didn't mind me getting personal trainers involved and sticking to the workout game plan that we was trying to do. We did throughout your Pee-wee all the way up until college. You might have had some nicks and bangs, but college is when I know that you really experienced a situation like that, and you should have reported it or handled it different. You didn't get evaluated to me in a timely manner. You tried to fight through it, and that's what you always have done. That's the toughness in you, the competitiveness in you. But that injury was early in your career. So if you wanted to, my advice would get checked out if you had to sit out a few games, because we were looking at the longevity. We was looking at the big picture, but you were looking, at the game, not letting your team down. And that's just how you played the game, So But that particular injury that you got up there at University of Stout, I thought you should have got it checked out and took a few games off.
Yeah, that's the difference. Like, we had more time for me to get healthy. Yeah, obviously, they showed us one playing the national championship game.
Right.
Yeah. For him to go to the National Football League. So, what's better, them to play in the game or for him to save his stock?
Well, it's hard, man. It's hard to tell, your son not to play. And I know and just basically talking about the experience that we had early in your career, you were going to go out there, but as your dad, I probably would have tried to get you to understand that your stock, your future career is much more than this right now. But at the same time, I do understand that this is a huge, huge game.
Yeah.
And I know how Watto is, and I know how you yourself feel. So I just would have let you go out there and play the game, man. And even though you're not 100%, just pray that we didn't cause any additional injuries that affect your future.
Yeah. That's what I liked about it too. A lot of the current NFL players are definitely saying, "Hey, man, get him out the game. Alabama's gonna win. He got too much of a bright future." So I was even liking how other people were mentoring for him from a distance. He wasn't the only one. Fields, they talked about Fields. I think a rib injury, or some type of injury, So he wasn't, they said he was 95%, but he wasn't 100% either. So
no, you could tell that he wasn't 100%. And like I say, man, huge games like that, man, you want to give it a try. As far as Alabama, part of it, you knew they was going to eventually win the game, but the players just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
They want to be a part of it, and you have to get your player to understand, or your son or whoever's in the game, that it's bigger than this. So.
Now, how did you go about? Because after any type of loss that I went through, I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to have anyone around me. But I don't know how I was preparing for big games. I don't know if you noticed, but I think I had the same routine that I usually have. But when it comes to a big game, I haven't played in the national championship game, but playoffs or a championship of that nature. How did you go about helping me prepare for big games?
Well, big games, I always made sure that you ate well, got your proper rest that day, the night before, and ate well for that day, and study film before that. But I didn't have to, like I said, I didn't have to make you study film. You didn't mind studying film, for the next opponent. You would get up on big time games. If it was basketball or football, I would let you know that this we would scout. We would scout who we needed to scout, and especially football. If there were some big time receivers, I would really, really talk to you, and you would study them. And then sometime a couple games, you were a little, and the adrenaline overtook you sometime. But once you settled down, you were okay.
Yeah, that's one thing about it. You don't know. The preparation is good for the mental, but the emotional aspect is something you cannot control. Once you get out there, you got to do your best to hurry up and settle in. But emotionally, when you get them fans out there and things like that, that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, you really, it was a big game you had for I think it was Bayview, and you really, really played a good game, an excellent game that year. I think you had a run back for a touchdown. So I think he had 2 or 3 interceptions. You really, really was focused that game. We had a big game playoffs. I think it was Brookfield School.
Yeah, Brookfield East.
Yeah, big time receiver. I thought the adrenaline overtook you in the beginning of the game, but like I said, eventually when you figured it out, you were okay.
Yeah, and I think, we talking about high school playoff game, and you compare it on a bigger scale to a national championship.
Yeah.
You got to kind of enjoy that, win or lose. You got to kind of enjoy that either way, because
right.
People, especially last year, didn't even get to play. But they, to consider getting to the big game, you got to just soak all that in either way too. not everybody get to play in the big national championship.
Yeah, when you talk about a national big time game like that, man, that's what you play for. That's what it really boils down to, And so it's just hard to stay out of them games unless you just totally can't go.
Yep.
If you got any to give, you're going to give it because you want to experience it. And a lot of times you never experienced it, and then sometimes you'll never experience it again. So
yeah. So this will be an interesting year. I know we kind of have rooted and supported Lee. We talked about Lee a couple times on the podcast from a distance, watching Wauwatosa East games. But for me, and in your situation, this would have been a tough year because we wouldn't have been playing MPS and like a lot of school districts across the country. Depending on where you're at, if your district is not testing for COVID, you wouldn't be playing. So we would be having no football season and no basketball season. So, I think we kind of talked about it with a couple of people, but what would our preparation be like? Especially if this was my senior year, what would we be doing to make sure, or junior year, either year is pivotal to make sure we still getting the work in? I'm
going to be honest, it would have been very tough. I talked to Leon's dad all the time, and before they even actually got a chance to play, man, I mean, yeah, same thing. We would have been doing the same thing, working out, as far as in the house, exercising, studying film. But eventually that's just, you want to be out there. You want to play. And that's what was happening with Leon the third. That was happening to him, man. He was just want to get out there. He want to play. This is junior year. And all that, just watching film, working out, dribbling the ball in the basement, dribbling the ball outside. They get old because you want the contact, you want the excitement, you want to play, So we would have been doing basically the same thing, man, just watching film, trying to keep your head right, working out, eating right, and but at the same time, I know the competitiveness you have in you, it would have been tough.
I'm a coach, but I'm also just like a fan of most of these kids, and just seeing how it's not a lot of opportunities, it's not a lot of resources that's being put in place to make sure that they get to places. Some schools are shutting down, programs are being not properly funded. It's tough to see how many of these, especially class of 2021, student athletes are not going to have a home to go to for athletics, college athletics in the fall. And we would have been, because of the school I went to, we would have been in that situation, and luckily I got you. But, if a lot of kids don't got that figure in the home, you got to go about it yourself. You got to write the letters yourself. You got to call these coaches yourself.
Yeah.
You got to try to find these showcases or camps. They are out there.
Absolutely.
If you a junior or senior, you got to get after it, man, because with the transfer portal and with the NCAA granting everybody a space to come back, you got to still take this thing serious. Otherwise, you're going to go from a year or two of not playing because of COVID to not playing forever. And, a lot of you guys have invested, and young ladies, too much time into this craft. So make sure that you got to do the legwork, do the legwork yourself to still create those opportunities for yourself. That's what I would say.
Well, you also got to think about, man, when you have done something from Pee Wee on to your junior, your senior year, and you're not injured, but you have to stop because of a pandemic, and then uncertain, not knowing, that can really, really mess with you, So, like you said, man, you have to not only do the things I said earlier, but like you said, you have to write your letters, and try to get your contacts in order and move forward,
Yep. Yeah. So in saying that, we both witnessed it. We talked about, this first semester of, in college, it just ended. And ended. Students are coming back. Everybody going back to school. Grades came out in college. Now we talking about in college. A couple students didn't do as good as they, normally would have or as they should have. In college, how did you go about monitoring my academic progress? Did you feel like that was solely on me? Did you still share the same enthusiasm about, making sure I got three, but did it still matter getting 3.0s, 4.0s, or was that just solely on me at that point?
Well, coming from the Bond family, I know everybody's different how they do things, but no, I still was just as on top of things like I was when you were in, elementary all the way through high school. You know, I constantly, if you recall, I constantly was on top of you about your grades, keep your grades up, even, wanting you to stay on the dean's list or the Chandler list, that meant a whole lot to me, and I wanted it to mean a whole lot to you. It wasn't a situation where, okay, now you graduated from high school, now it's on you. No, it didn't work like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you recall, I monitored your grades, stayed on you about your grades, wanted you to show me your grades. But at the same time, when you got your bachelor's, I was the first to say, okay, let's go and get the master's.
Yeah.
And I was hands on because I felt that you can do that as well.
Yeah.
And then same thing with the masters. Okay, let's see what you're doing, and monitoring that as well, and then it got to the point where when you got your master's degree, I said, okay, son, let's take it further. But that's when you stopped me and you said, okay, Pops, 6 years, it's time to get paid. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so this is the scenario now. Like we just said, grades come out, a couple student athletes in new too high. Got parents now who want to know, well, my son, didn't do well. Why weren't you guys on top of it as a university, or not just our program, but across the country? Why are you guys not tracking this thing or getting them the support that he needs? So, do you feel like it's a fine line, or do you feel like it's solely on that student athlete, or is it on the parents still to make sure that your child is doing what they're supposed to do? What's your take on that?
Well, I do understand some of the parents too.
Mm-hmm.
I just happen to be a parent that was very big on education. Where I come from, we have professors in the family, and we'll speak on that. Congratulations again, son. But we have administrators in certain points in the collegiate area, and we're just big on that. So. But going back to the other parents, I do understand because now, okay, you're grown now. You should be able to. I have spoken to parents like that. Okay, you're grown. You got to get up. You got this costing money. You need to get up and get the grades. If you don't get it, your money goes to waste. So it depends on the structure you come from. Not saying that it's. I'm not going to say just because a parent wasn't on top of their child that they were wrong. Like I said, I got close friends that says, okay, once you turn 18 or 19, whatever the case may be, and now you should want to get your degree.
Yeah.
You should want to get up and go to class every day. That's your responsibility. I did all of that, before that. You know what I mean? So now you should be mature enough to be able to do all that yourself.
Yeah, that's why that was, for me, it's important to get the grades in college. And the reason I say that is because now it's a business transaction. It's all about, you paying for this education now, or somebody is giving you scholarship money or grants to get this. So it's paper involved. So for me, it was sometimes where I would have something on my award letter one semester, and then it'd be some other money available the next semester because I kept the grades up. Some money that somebody didn't say, "Oh, we're gonna throw them now." So for me, that was my whole motivation. Like, I get more money, so let's do it. For me, I'm not gonna throw out no names or people. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I would get more on the student first. Like, is this really what you want to do? Like you said, this is what you want to do. The demands of what you're trying to accomplish. Why are you not doing the work? Everybody has a role to play, though. The school has a role to play to support academic services or resources. Coaches have a role to play to make sure that they checking in. I think parents do too, despite the distance. But it all starts with that individual. Nobody can care more about you than you. So that's kind of where the way I look at it. I think sometimes the blame gets passed too far than where it should. Sometimes.
Yeah, one of my closest friends is a superintendent, and he would also tell me, that there's other money out there, as you spoke about that, it could be for grades, it could be for certain things, and that's why I kept, on you about that as well. Keep your grades up because, like you said, there's benefits to this. You know what I mean? And there's organizations that's trying to help you out, as long as you're trying to help yourself. So you're right.
And it's not easy. I don't care what division, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. I don't even care if you ain't playing sports. You have to dedicate. You have to stay disciplined for whatever degree or whatever career path you're trying to do. It's going to be parties. It's going to be, things that you can be doing instead of doing that homework, but it's on you now, so you got to do what you got to do to make sure that you graduating. I just talked to a cat today, graduating in 2.5 years. It's the first time I ever heard that, so
right.
It can be done. It can be done. So in saying that, go ahead.
Before you say that, but if you ever noticed, there have been some parents that, okay, maybe first semester you're adjusting, but you get to the sophomore year and you still not doing what you're supposed to do. Then that's why some parents say, well, it's best you come home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you're not doing anything. So like you said, it's got to be on you. And at that time stage of your life, you should want to be able to push yourself to get the proper grades that you need to pursue your career.
Yes, sir. Yes, I definitely agree with that. So, in saying that, it's truly important. It's truly important right now for that virtual learning that's going on across the country. That's not easy. I hate to bust my boy out. My nephew, he fell asleep the other day. So, it's tough on everybody. It's tough on everybody. So, it's good practice, but you're gonna have to do it now, and you're gonna have to do it when you get in college. So, that's one advantage that I do see coming out of this thing. That I'm talking to a guy now. He said that senioritis is kicking in virtually. So
right.
You got to do it. You got to do it. You know what I mean?
Right. I just seen a parent on the news, and she said that she's a teacher / parent.
Yeah.
And she just really, really said it's frustrating, and
so she got to teach her class while her son.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So she was like, need to get back in the building. So.
Yeah, today was my first day, so I appreciate that. It's different being on the other side of the classroom. So it's definitely different. Nerves was kicking in, but I appreciate the support from everybody and, telling me that I can do it, including this guy across from me on the screen. So that's what made me want to accept the opportunity in the first place. Getting people. It's important to have, I think, of Mr. Allen when I was at Morris. Mr. White, who was at Morris and Marshall for a little bit, just think of Dr. Gallion, people who were in academia, who were teachers or administrators. Dr. Ronick, you can't forget about him. Just looked like me to help me, navigate. Longmire, who else? Mr. A couple people at Tech, a couple of them teachers at Tech, Sarge, all those teachers, man, they helped. Seeing them in the hallway, and they just wanted you to be successful. You just wanted to be something. Because you're seeing them do it. So for me to get this opportunity, it's a blessing, so it was definitely a good day today.
Well, as it pops, it was an honor for you to become a professor. I usually, I have, your name became Catch 22 when you were playing football. Yeah, it was MJ when you needed to, I needed to talk to you about something serious. Then you became MJ. But as of today, you're Professor Bond, as far as I'm concerned.
I appreciate it.
You earned it. You worked hard for it. You listened to your parents. We gave you the foundation, and we set it out. And with the help of the people that you named, and some more, Miss Bloyer.
Oh yeah.
My real close. You have to call her name, and she's gonna get mad at me. She really helped us out a whole lot. Miss Jeffka, with the support of all the ones you named, Gloria and Jeffka, and it was another one. What's her name? Miss Ty. They wanted the best for you all. So what I'm saying is that prepared you for where you're at today.
Yeah.
The question I have for you: what is the biggest difference? You say you're on the other side now. So what's the biggest difference?
The biggest difference is now you're just not yourself. For me, it was about, as a student, the information that I'm trying to retain so that I can study the best way I need to study, the best way that I need to navigate so that I can pass the course at the end of the day for whatever field that I'm trying to be in. Now you have to make sure, however many in this class, however many different learning styles, however many ways you got to get the information across for these students to retain it. You got to do that. And everything is important, starting from the syllabus to how you present the information, to the PowerPoints, to the textbook that you're using, to where you standing in the classroom. It all adds up, because for one student that may be good, but for the next one it might be, it might not work. And it ain't like that. I started right at high school. I'm starting right at the college level. So, you talking to people that know some stuff. Just because they come into your course, they have some background knowledge on the subject because they've been taking some prerequisites or whatever. So, you're going to get some people that test your theories and test what you trying to present to the class, and you got to be prepared. You just can't, be quiet. This is my classroom, or you can get out. Nah, it's a university setting. So, you just got to really understand it's not just about you. It's for everybody. Everybody has to learn it. That's the big thing that I got to really adjust to right now. If I'm not prepared, nobody is prepared. As a student, if I'm not prepared, I can get through the class day that day by somebody else asking questions or whatever notes that they taking, if you want to be honest. Not right now. Like, I can't do that with the position I'm in right now. If I'm not prepared, ain't nobody learning. They wasting their money. So that's the tough part right now. You gotta own the responsibility that you have.
Well, I think a little bit of advice, I think is, you have always prepared for games. You prepared for school well. You prepared for college. So it's just like you said, it's on another level now. You just got to prepare your assignments, or prepare and be focused on what you're teaching. And I think you'll be okay.
I appreciate that. It's definitely something that I'm going to see if I want to continue to do. But the good thing is God got my foot in the door, So
that's right. That's right. Absolutely.
That's whatever, whatever information that, some of you young cats listening to, whenever you get an opportunity, don't turn your nose up at it. You got right. Opportunity. Somebody open the door for you. Go through it.
Right.
You never know. I appreciate that. Psychology, sensations, and perceptions. So we just ain't going.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. Your brother asked me one day, Calvin asked me, he says, what is he teaching? Yeah. Well, he asked his mom, and I said psychology. And he said, psychology what? And then his mom said, psychology. And he says, Mom, tell Pops it's psychology something. So I need to know that. So I'm glad you're telling me that. Say it again so I'll be able to tell him.
20 sensations and perceptions, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So,
okay, I got it.
That's what it's doing. So,
okay.
Yeah, appreciate that. Moving, right along with that, it's good to see too, not only the representation, but it's good to, like you always said too, have your hand in different, coaching profession, diversity work. It's just good to have your hand in different things, because I think it's all playing a part for what the world is looking like right now. It's tough times, and as much as you can be a resource as these students, as these young men and young ladies come from their hometowns, I think that's important, because it can get scary. It can get scary. So,
right.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about, I was riding with Moody one day. We, kind of talking about, education things. We was riding, we was listening to V100, or, I shouldn't even said the name, but it's a commercial that played on the air radio. And it says something about, if your ties, kids being rappers or athletes or something like that, they were basically trying to say it's more careers, but if you're tired of all these kids doing this, explore this avenue. If you're tired of seeing rappers, athletes, and drug dealers in your communities, here's another, opportunity for you to get involved in. And Moody said, I don't see that in my neighborhood. She said, I don't like this commercial. So basically, what I wanted to talk about was, how do you think we can go about getting more people involved in different, opportunities or careers? And when did this stereotype of, being an athlete or being a rapper or whatever, why is it so negative in our community?
Well, to answer that, the reason rappers and, athletes get a negative, as far as what I think the reason is, they get a negative perception is because, once something happened with an athlete or a rapper, we're going to stereotype right away. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, they feel like all athletes are like that. All rappers is like that. Today I heard on the news, it's a big time rapper wanted for murder. So you know what the first thing people are going to say? They're going to say they are like that, And the same thing with an athlete. Once an athlete do something off the field, then, all athletes are like that, But I think, the schools, once it comes from the political, once a lot of programs got cut back, got eliminated. Once you get these programs and stuff, if you can get them back into the schools and somehow get budgets set for certain things where kids that's what they see now. That's what they see. They don't see a lot of different avenues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, especially during the pandemic, a lot of kids are on their phones, man. They're on their phones, the TikToks and all this stuff, man. What do you see? You see dancers, you see athletes, you see rappers, so kids want to do that, but you got to get programs back into the school. When we were in school, man, there was dentistry, there was nursing.
Yeah.
There was even when you was in school, there was plumbing. Ran into one of your teachers 2 or 3 years ago, man, in Longmire. And he was speaking on, they were cutting the programs for, the shop courses down at Tech, and that helped a lot of people that didn't really want to further their education, as far as getting a degree. They were getting, experience plumbing, electrician, and building houses. And some of those, to this day, some of those people, man, that's how they make their living right now, So yeah. Once you show, see, I tell Mariah, I tell her like this, you can be, we have talked about being president. We have talked about being vice president.
Yeah.
We have talked about being a teacher, doctors, nurses. We have talked about all that. But even this weekend, she did a great performance at her cousin's house, and she was singing and dancing.
Okay.
And I even praised her on that. I even told her, oh man, which she did. She did well. But sometimes you have to, whatever they tapped into at that time of their life, you have to praise them and make sure that, you get the best. Everybody's not going to be a doctor. Everybody's not going to be a nurse, but those conversations do be addressed with me and her,
That's what I was wondering, since when did, these, because a lot of the doors that I've been open, I think came from athletics, just, from my opinion, and a lot of the people that I looked up to probably didn't go and be professional athletes or rappers or whatever, but they had some type of athletic background or whatever that allowed them to be, so my, when did it come, from what it sounded like on the radio, when did it become a bad thing to be a rapper, athlete, or
That's because, like I said, it's something that has happened or in the athletic world or the rapping world. And now, people got a stigma, and then, sometimes the videos are not appropriate. So people, they do judgments on that. And, so, it becomes, where, people draw their own conclusions and they say, that's they're bad people. And, but like the fathers that of my friend, your friends and their fathers, what we tried to do as friends, we tried to get, set up athletics for you guys to stay busy. It was teaching, see, what athletics was doing for y'all was teaching you discipline, teaching you to respect to become a respectful young man, to be able to take orders and show some kind of leadership.
Yeah.
And a lot of your colleagues, a lot of them went far. Some went far, some went further. Some got scholarships. But to me, at that time, you had some great men in place teaching these young men and about education. And that. And even praying before games, religion. We taught all of that, man.
Yeah, Yeah, I hear you. So I'm glad we kind of talked about that because me and Moody was riding and we both kind of felt some way about that. You know what I mean? As younger, as you told me many times, they kind of ignorant to stuff that, in a certain way, they kind of ignorant to the things that are going on around them. And we know Moody has definitely seen some things that has traumatized her a little bit, but she sounded very hopeful in that moment, and I was glad that she did. That it's other things that are going on in my neighborhood that I don't feel like I'm surrounded by a bunch of nobodies that's not going nowhere. And I had a proud uncle moment listening to her at that time. Like you have had proud, granddaddy moments, papa moments. So that was something that I wanted to bring up, So, if anybody has any comments or any feedback on that, give it to us. We'd love to discuss it. We'd love to talk about it. And keep this conversation rolling with you guys. So your boy is traded now from Houston. All right. And we know that. And, he got to where he wanted to go ultimately with Brooklyn. And, like DeMarcus Cousins said, in his opinion, the disrespect started long ago before yesterday's interview where he said that, his time in Houston was done. Do you feel like things were handled in a professional manner with that situation?
Well, me, I'm old school. I don't think so. But somewhere along the line, and you could see it last night interview, that he was done.
Yeah.
And they realized it, believe me, they wanted it to try to make it work, but he had checked out. You can see it in his game. You can see it in his conversation, in his interview. He even said that some of the players are not good enough. So he had checked out. And then how do you play with a guy that feel that way? And then he don't want to be there. He's not there. He's just going through the motions, man. So no, I don't think it was handled right. But one thing he did do. He did, beginning of the season, he did ask to be traded. And they for whatever reason, it couldn't get done. So what happens? What happens next, man, when you don't want to be at a place? You start showing the things that he was doing. So it almost like we gotta trade him now. We gotta move him and get some kind of compensation or something,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it was handled professionally. I think at a certain point you take the fun out of the game. When you mix business, we all know this. When you mix business with some childhood game that brings a lot of excitement, it gets ugly. And this was one of the ugly cases that we have seen in a long time. But hopefully he finds his happiness, over there. But you walking into a situation where now it seems like Kyrie don't even want to be in Brooklyn, for personal reasons. So
yeah.
It's a bunch going on. But I think in Kyrie's case, he's trying to make a point, when he's missing games, that money can be going back into society for better improvement of communities and so social, justice and things like that. So, it's just tough right now. You're seeing a lot of agendas being put on display, in my opinion.
Well, Kyrie, a lot of people, well, I ain't gonna say a lot, but some people disagree with the way, you know how it is, man. You're making X amount of dollars, you need to be out there playing, But Kyrie has always been bigger than, it's been more, it wasn't just about basketball for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been, he's boisterous about Black Lives Matters, politics. So yeah, he's just trying to, he's about a better community, better, not just basketball, I should say, So a lot of people, huh?
Do you think that, what was I getting ready to say? In both of these situations, the old saying is you are who you hang around. Do you think in both of these situations they're around people that's not directing them properly? Like James Harden, when you can just go out and ball or whatever. Do you think this is people are not giving them the right information on this is just spreading the surface?
I think I'm not going to totally say that in Kyrie's situation. I think Harden, just somewhere along the line, somewhere between the organization and Harden, there was some disrespect,
Gotcha.
And it just grew to the point, you know how I go. I mean, I feel that I can give you all I can give you. You know, you say you gave what you could give me, and it's still not getting done. It's got to be a change. You
Yeah.
know, so so
Definitely gonna see
so
how it pan out. You know, just we don't see how it pan out. We're gonna see what happens from it.
sometimes you got to understand that you do have people that's really guiding you
Yeah.
and directing you, but you sometimes don't take heed to the direction that they're trying to, guide
Yeah, that's
you. So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna totally say that, there's no one directing them. Sometimes you just feel like, hey, I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean?
but
Mhm.
it's equally important to have people you trust around you, especially situations like this. So that when you are in times where you are feeling like, situations ain't right for you, you are getting, proper, not yes man. Don't need no more of those, but you're getting proper, advice or, whatever that you're seeking from people that know you and know what best situation you can find yourself in. You know what I mean? So let's see, but I know in these situations, I definitely, this is something where I'm proud that I have you as a resource to, if I want to be traded or I like a contract or I like an organization, I feel like you would steer me right. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of times, like you said earlier, a lot of these cats, man, they don't got that.
Right.
So, we got the big one this weekend too. We're gonna save our predictions. I don't like to throw them out there, but definitely will enjoy watching this with you, either virtually or at the crib. The big stuff we got this weekend. But as it winds down, as we get to the end of the playoffs and end of the Super Bowl is approaching, you're gonna have a lot of downtime. A lot of downtime without football, and as basketball picks back up, everybody tend to watch during the playoffs. What are you looking to, looking forward to this as the football season wraps up? What are you looking for it to some big storylines or whatever?
Far as you're talking about in the sports world, or just
without football, football coming to a close, and then basketball, basically. And basketball having an increase in COVID tests. So if that happened again, what do you think you're going to do without sports again? Basically, what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. I figured you was trying to go there.
Yeah.
See, one thing before the virus, this time of the year, there was all, we have been doing this for a while where, you start picking your vacations. You're picking your vacations and you know where you're going, you get your 2 or 3 trips in a year. You can't even do that now. So to say that, we all right now just praying that this vaccine is successful, or this somehow, as Ever said today, we do what we have to do as people to get this virus, to a limit as possible. I really, you asking that question, I really didn't want to go there yet because I still got a good month of football.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, basketball, man, it's just, you're getting viruses and games canceled, and they already had addressed that before the season even started. So it's almost like we would be back to the way we were last year, so
that's scary.
So that's the scary part. Yeah. So I guess we would have to get creative again. And, if there's home improvements, getting more guests on the podcast, getting creative and seeing what other ways we can make the podcast grow. It was a lot of renovation going on, remodeling your homes and doing things on the outside of your home. So I think we would be back there if things don't get any better, So you got to do the things that the physicians say. I mean, not just that, you gotta wear your mask, wash your hands, but make sure, if you can, some people can't due to health issues, but if you can exercise, take your vitamins, and just try to stay safe as possible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the way I want to wrap it up today, hopefully everybody still here. You enjoyed it. You enjoyed the junior and senior today, Mike Brown Junior and Senior. I want to tell all you guys out there, man, I know, January, February can be very tough. The holidays just passed. Everybody's going back to their normal activities. But if you need some type of support, man, we are here. If you need some type of, somebody, an ear, we are here. We probably won't have the answers, or, we won't be able to resolve whatever is going on. We don't have the magic wand, but go to somebody that you trust, man. It's just still, you just overcame a tough and trying year. Don't throw away something precious like life, or whatever circumstance you are in is the end. We had a situation up here that had to take place, and for everybody that is hearing this voice, or my dad's voice, just know, man, you are loved and you have a purpose. So, that'll be the listen, son message right there. If you need anything, if you struggle, man, reach out. Don't bottle that stuff in, man. It can eat you alive. So that's where we're gonna go. You got anything else, Pop?
No, basically, I agree with you, man. If we have survived this year, continue to pray, and like Mike Jr. said, reach out to someone. It has been tough for all of us, and be safe.
Thanks once again, my fraternity and sorority of listeners of Listen Son podcast. Please, women and men, please like, subscribe, and share. Continue to support our goals to connect untold special real life stories.